5-foot wide U-shaped aisle separates the exhibit into 3 parts, each illustrating an important era in the growth of railroads in America. The center area shows the Old West of the late 1800s, when railroads first united the country, and the steam era of the 30s and 40s, when the steam locomotive was king. On the other side of the aisle is an 8-foot deep display which is built around the perimeter of the 44 by 96-foot room. The display represents a cross-country tour of America with the trains depicting the diesel era. The tour starts on the East Coast, New York City, Washington, D.C., and continues through the industrialized areas of Ohio and Pennsylvania, past the rockets and launching pads of Cape Canaveral, over the mountains and coal mines of Kentucky and Tennessee, the Mississippi River, past the oil fields of Oklahoma, and on west for a little skiing in the Rockies. The trek ends in California on the shores of the Pacific. After a quick ride on the N-scale train in Safariland, we head north past the San Francisco airport to the lumber area of Oregon and Washington. A partition divides the center area. On one side is the Old West, where a horse thief is in serious trouble, and Indians are continuously attacking the fort. There's a mountain climber on Devil's Tower in Wyoming and the familiar Mount Rushmore in the Black Hills of North Dakota. Where are those guys now that we need them? The hub of the steam era is a roundhouse and turntable located in Omaha, Nebraska. On the other side of the partition are the farmlands of Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa. The star of Trainland USA is Red Atwood. Red started collecting trains in the 50s. By the mid-70s, he had accumulated so many he decided to build a big layout. Red also was building a new home for he and his wife Judy. Both projects merged, and the Atwoods' new home was built on top of Trainland USA. Red and Judy moved into their new home on Christmas Day, 1976. Work started on the layout the following spring. It took 32 people 4.5 years to build Trainland USA.
The guy that wired it, his name's Don Miller. He's from now Olathe, Kansas. He worked for the telephone company. The guy that painted the walls never had a lesson in his life. He's a professional baker. The guy that laid the track and now lives in Orlando, Florida, was a carpenter. He also built the house. He laid the track straight, even used a chalk line to lay it down so it didn't weave or anything. And he followed the blueprints, which were drawn by Don Miller with the detector sections and all the insulated loops to a T. We had very little trouble. Tracks all screwed down. The ties were cut by Fred Iskey. He cut 35,000. And he's about an 82-year-old man now, but he worked all winter just cutting the ties. He would bring them over here, I would dye them, and then we would lay the ties as we laid the track. The track plan was all, used 120 switches. There's over 4,000 feet of track, and it's all O-gauge track, all O-gauge Lionel switches. It is wired to fit the times back in 1950. There's no computers. It's run on relays. As one train passes, it trips the block, and if you're here and watch the engineer's booth, you'll see one light go from red to green. That's protection from the train in front of it. It's just like a real railroad. We do have some wrecks every once in a while, but this is how it was all laid out. The switches, 120, all the insulated tracks and the whole works. We can run many trains. We try to run on average of 20 to 25 at one time, depending on how well the conditions are, how well the trains are running. On the outside loop alone, I think we can run 7 or 8 if we really put our mind to it. As long as we have a block signal, a red block between every green, why, it'll just proceed. We use 32 ZW and KW transformers all hooked in a series. We used one ground wire. Anytime we replace the transformer, we have to phase it to where it'll be the same phase. In other words, there's a hot side and a low side on the coming out of the outlet, and so we phase it in there in our test track, and you check it back and forth, and that's what we use.
Trainland USA opened in June 1981, the same month Red received bad news from his doctors.
See, in 1981, we opened this. In, what was it, June, and July 4th, I was diagnosed. I was a heavy smoker, and I had throat cancer. So I was told I wouldn't even talk again. But see, I'm lucky. I had a good doctor, 2 good doctors, 3 good doctors. There's the scars, and I'm still talking.
Are you still smoking?
No, they gave me my choice, either quit or die.
The trains are mostly post-war Lionel. Some appear to have been made up rather hastily, and none are very long. Buildings are Plasticville, K-Line, and American Flyer. The control room is located in front of the center section. The layout is operated by 32 Lionel ZW and KW transformers. Controls for the 120 switches are on the wall. The entire layout is divided into blocks. The flashing lights indicate the position of the train on the layout. A red light stops the train from going farther when another train is in the same block. When the block is clear, the light changes to green and the train proceeds. The repair area is behind the north woods. Engines are replaced out of sight from the visitors. When operating at full capacity, as many as 25 trains see action at one time. 2 operators usually handle the control room, while a third troubleshoots. Visitors can operate some of the accessories and animations by pressing buttons. Signs indicate the state, and the glass panels slide open to permit access. About every 20 minutes, the lights are turned down and the layout operates in the dark. Over 600 street lamps and lights show the way. The night scenes always bring oohs and ahs. Red uses a creeper to get around under the table. All the wiring is tagged, but it still takes time to trace down shorts.
Sometimes it's a nightmare, but as a whole, if you just don't panic, why, you'll pretty well trace her out before you're done.
Quite often, people bring in trains for Red to buy. Sometimes he gets a good deal, but he always tries to be fair.
Well, this fella here, we had some Lionel that he kind of wanted, and he wasn't interested in the Flyer. And so he said, well, I don't really have any money. And, well, the moral of the story is really, we treated this guy right. But look at this. It's never been out of the box. The track's still here. It's all brand new, never been on the track. I had a kid the other day brought 3 sets of American Flyer out here. Now, they weren't cream puffs, but they weren't bad. And so he's standing there, and he needs some money. And he said, I said, what do you want for them? And he said, well, he said, are they worth $50? And I said, oh, yeah, they're worth more than that. I said, I'll give you more than that for them. Now, I guess that's dumb. And said,
what'd you give him for it?
Well, I gave him $100.
What was it worth?
Oh, I don't know what it was worth. We got to rebuild some of the engines, but it was worth more than $100, which the people who work here kind of like to get paid too, you know. You ever think of that? Look at this HO set. We got a lot of this stuff. God, I've got brand new American Flyer sets in the back room. I mean, not brand new, never been undone. Are you filming that, young man? Thought the battery was dead.
Red thinks trains are a good way for parents to communicate with their kids.
We always blame the kids, but really it's not the kids. If the parents would stay home and do something with the kids, then the kids wouldn't be on the streets as much as they are. Just like Lionel used to promote, mom and dad and the kids all work together, promote it, don't make it work, just make it like a hobby, make it fun, and do things with the kids. I really believe that.
Do you have fun?
Sure I have fun. Don't you? Look at you laughing too.
Leland Red Atwood has that effect on people. You just have to smile.
He's taking pictures. We're good. You have a good time. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Are you having a good time?
Oh, you've got a lot of different things here.
Oh, yes, with the bugle, I'd be a brass band. Oh, I like to see people have a good time. How are you guys today?
Oh, not too bad.
Are you having a good time?
Of course. Good.
Have a good time.
Thank you. We will.
Yeah,
You should be a politician, Red.
No, no, I wouldn't want to be a politician this year. Whew.